Hello and welcome to Eat Sleep Code, the official Telerik podcast. I'm your host, Ed Charbeneau, and with me is my wonderful co-host, John Bristowe. So this is a show where we talk about what's happening in developer news, technology news, all things AR, VR. You can ask John about. And
No,
no, aw, come on, John.
I am trashing this like no other on Twitter. This is my new ick, if to use the common generation now. Anyone who promotes AR VR. Ugh.
So let's jump straight into, whoops, I got the wrong one there.
Something else.
Yeah. This is a repo that I frequently see. A good friend of mine, David Pine, he's an engineer and on the Docs team over at Microsoft, and they are happily taking PRs on the Azure samples repository. So if you
Okay.
want to do something with Azure, there is probably a sample of how to do that on this repository. So I thought it was pretty cool. I'll give it a highlight. They just added some OpenAI stuff with Blazor on there. No, it wasn't the demo I just gave. It just happens to be the same, topical thing. And theirs, I think, incorporated Spire as well. So there's a lot of cool stuff up on this Azure samples repo, and you can hit that from github.com/Azure-samples, and just kind of dive through all of the many repositories that are in there. And if, like I said, if you need it, it's probably here. There's a lot of stuff, and if it's not there, go ahead and submit a PR. 82 pages of repos in there. Holy cow!
That is a lot.
That's a lot of stuff. 2,500 repos under this Azure samples. Just use the search bar, find the thing. If you can't find the thing, make it and submit a PR for it.
Yep.
Pretty cool. All right. And then I saw somebody tweeting about this, John. I think we might have covered it on the show, but I thought you might like to give it another shout out, considering Octopus Deploy is a sponsor of it. So you want to give us a little rundown of what Nuke is?
Oh, yes. Yeah, we're fans of Nuke. Nuke is basically a build tool. So if you're doing anything with .NET and you're wanting to do it in a way that allows you to describe your builds using code as opposed to text, for example, well, code is text, but you know what I mean. Rather than having a description it's more of less of a do as I mean, not what I say. It's more of a do exactly as I say with these tools. So Nuke, Cake, and others are basically ways of setting up continuous integration. And we use Nuke ourselves. We've used Cake in the past. We've used a bunch of other tools as well. But what this basically allows you to do is set up your builds in C# if you so wish. And which is a nice thing if you're doing anything with .NET. That's where people, rather than having to learn a new language or a DSL for building, you can actually use C#.
Yeah, because you normally use like what, YAML for something like this. And I mean,
you might
who likes
maybe
who likes
YAML,
YAML?
maybe YAML. You can always stick with VS, proj files and the like. I would argue that those are an abomination as well, especially the solution files. Good God, I don't know who came up with that format, but that is horrific. But this is a new way of specifying that, but also having full control. That's really what people want, is full control over their builds and then their setup processes. But it's more than just builds. It's anything to do with tests and runs and things like that. So anything in terms of the CI process you have, a continuous integration process, this is where Nuke shines.
Of course, you got to have the NanCat finish there. That was great.
That's right.
Yeah, I thought that was worth bringing up. I think we might have talked about it before, but it's always good to revisit some good things.
Yeah. We're sponsors and we use it a lot.
I don't know if you all remember back in November, but this new thing called .NET 8 was released. Remember, it was just like a couple months ago. .NET 9 Preview 1 is here. How about that?
Yeah.
Are you ready for .NET
awesome.
9 yet?
Whatever. Every good product from Microsoft comes in groups of 3, apparently. So this is a multiple of 3, which this is going to be the awesome version of .NET, I guess.
So they are
It's a joke, of course,
breaking
but
Microsoft tradition here, and we've got a 9. We've got a 9 release. Like usually they just skip 9, go straight to 10, don't they?
if fans of the registry will know what Ed's referring to there. Version numbers are always a challenge at Microsoft, especially with backwards compatibility. But yeah, there you go. I've read a little bit about this. I thought I saw a snapshot or some kind of blog post about the binary formatter in .NET 9 going away. That's what I had read. So that is an issue. Yeah. So the binary formatter is being removed
That's
in .NET
actual
9.
bits. That's not it. Might be in here. Nope, that's not it either. There is a blog post.
There is an issue. It's under the announcements repo. This is, so for those who don't know, the binary formatter, anyone who's had to wrestle with the binary formatter will know what I'm talking about here. The binary formatter was a way of supporting .NET remoting way back in the day, and now it's in .NET Core. It's used for other things as well, but kind of working with this, it would just blow up in random places whenever serializing a class at times, and so it's basically a problematic sort of tool to use. So the plan, apparently, from what I've read, is that the binary formatter will not be able to be used in Blazor and Maui projects in .NET 9. That's what they've announced here on the announcements. I'll send you the link in the private chat here, Ed, so you can bring it up.
Maybe it's under breaking changes.
It's under announcements.
Yeah. Binary incompatible. Is that it? Yeah.
I think that has to do with the executables.
Okay. So somebody's asking about hot reload. I know that is on the agenda for .NET 9 is fixing the hot reload or improving it. I know that is something that is on the bucket list. So if you want to chime in on that, and you can always go to the GitHub repo here and post some feedback in that channel, or just contact one of the folks on social media. Let them know.
Ping Richard. Richard Lander there, who's listed on that post. Ping him. He's an old buddy of mine, so he'll take all your feedback. Sorry, Richard, I didn't mean to throw you under the bus there.
Daniel Roth was on Twitter asking, what do people want to see in ASP.NET Core and .NET 9? And there's a thread going there as well. So they're actively taking feedback and working on it in .NET 9. So there's a lot of content linked here, by the way. I should just post this into chat just in case anybody wants to look at it. But there are several articles and things about, our vision for .NET 9, what's new in .NET 9, breaking changes, and so on. It's a good jumping off point if you're interested in what's happening with .NET 9. Further with Microsoft news, this is something that released with .NET 8. We were talking about, .NET 8 and 9. Although not a part of .NET 8, this is released with it. I've talked about it a few times on some sessions and streams that I've had, but dev tunnels. This is a game changer for mobile developers. And Grok might disagree with that statement, but
Fiddler might the folks who use Fiddler and Grok and all these other tools may disagree with you.
But it is a super convenient way for tunneling into your API backend or sharing your application, your web-based application with other clients on your network. It does it in a secure fashion, so you can lock it down. But basically what it does is it provides a tunnel back to your app through Visual Studio. So if you're, say, building a web API or a Blazor app and you have a mobile device that can't hit it on localhost, you can't access it because it's not on the same network, you come into your HTTP menu here, go down to Dev Tunnels and hit Create a Tunnel, go through the little configuration. It's a wizard with like 3 steps in it. And once you have that, there's the configuration there. Like I said, three check boxes to fill in, hit OK. And then you'll get a URL that looks like this. It's like some gibberish.devtunnels.ms. You hit that from any device anywhere and you can access your app or API. So this is really, really handy if you're, on a mobile device or say a virtual reality headset, John, and you're trying to open your PWA you built with Blazor
Sure.
in
Why
your
not?
virtual reality headset, and you
Yeah, of
need to,
course. Of course.
it's being hosted on your local computer. How do you get to it? Well, DevTunnels will get you there in 3 clicks.
I'm
How
not
about that?
surprised they did this. I'm really surprised how long it took them to do this. I'm really,
Yeah.
really surprised that the VS team sat on this idea, which has been around forever. Like, I'm surprised they sat on this, or maybe they didn't even consider it. But like, this is something that I did all the time. So
Yeah.
yeah, there you go.
ngrok does this as well. So not
Yes.
to throw any shade at ngrok, we need to.
No. There's
They've
no
been doing it
shade
for a
thrown at
while.
Microsoft. Never.
Yeah. You know, both are very good options, and some people may already be using ngrok and enjoying it. So if you
I think a
are,
lot of people
continue.
can and should use ngrok.
Mhm.
Ngrok also has an ingress controller for Kubernetes as well. They've got a lot of pluggability to their solution. I'm a huge fan of ngrok. Definitely something I'd recommend it.
In February, we got a .NET update as well. So I believe these were like security fixes and bug fixes. There's quite a few bug fixes. So .NET 8 0.2 is out, along with some of the prior versions of .NET getting updates as well. But the latest and greatest even got an update here. So you can look through the various improvements for each thing. But like I said, security is one of those things.
Yep.
Visual Studio compatibility, make sure you update Visual Studio if you update your SDKs. But there was like something like 64, 68 bug fixes in ASP.NET 8 alone. So, I mean, there's a bunch of stuff going on here. One of them was a pretty bad, like, breaking, like, stopping issue on N80 Framework. So people were really having trouble with some feature on N80 Framework that just did not work at all. So that was part of this update as well. So let's see, it's probably in this N80 Framework core. 42 issues closed. I can't remember the specific issue, but one of them was pretty hot. Like people were
Yep.
really upset. So this fixed it, and the villagers rejoiced.
Put down your pitchforks and torches, folks. We fixed it.
Yeah. When any framework doesn't work, it's a big deal. Like that
Oh, yeah.
brings applications down. So I'm glad to see they fixed
Sure.
it right away. And we got the 8.02 release. And then we talked about the vision for .NET 9. I still have this one in the queue. But if you want to see where they're going with that, go to devblogs.microsoft.com, click on .NET, and you will see what their plans are for .NET 9. The top level items, cloud. I'm sure Aspire is up there.
Yeah.
Aspire
Yeah.
version preview version 3 just came out. Did you see that, John?
Yes.
Yeah, so 3.0 just shipped. And then, tools for cloud developers, artificial intelligence, OpenAI, stuff that we just talked about in the previous stream, all being, kind of rolled up into .NET 9. And then, of course, all the wish list stuff that came in .NET 8 we didn't get is also being considered for .NET 9.
Right.
All right. And then I don't think anybody had this on their bingo cards, but jQuery 4.0 beta is out.
I know. I saw that. I'm like, what? Sort of thing. Yeah. I was like, amazing. If this was if this was 2008, I'd be amazed by now.
Yeah.
But yeah, there you go.
Finally saying goodbye to IE 11. Like it's safe to go ahead and drop that support. A lot of deprecated APIs. These are all things that I think are supported natively in the DOM APIs now, probably, or the ES script, whatever the implementation is on the browser.
Yeah.
Things like push, sort, splice, that sort of stuff. You don't need jQuery for these things anymore,
This
so
is
they're
all
taking
baked
them
into the
out.
browser now. So
Yeah. migrated to ES modules. They're modernizing. They are getting with the times over at
Yep.
jQuery. Being sarcastic, but jQuery still works great. So if you're using it,
Still runs a large chunk of the internet.
yeah, if you're still doing WordPress and all that stuff,
I still
upgrade
have my
your.
GeoCities email address. I'm kidding, of course, but CompuServe.
And they're planning a jQuery 5.0, by the way. You can see
Yep.
the preview of that as well.
In the face of HTMX and these other I'm not sure why they're pursuing this, but there you go.
Sora. What is Sora, John? I've never heard of this. Creating video
This
from
is
text.
an announcement that dropped actually earlier today from OpenAI. It's basically creating video from text, and it's quite impressive.
Wow.
I don't know if you've seen this yet, but there's a bunch of examples listed on this page. OpenAI, of course, is pushing ahead with a lot of its innovations, and now they're using AI models to generate video. And on this page is some really nice examples of just showing underneath each one the prompt and then the video that was used, or the video that was generated from that. So it's quite impressive.
Movie trailer featuring the adventures of a 30-year-old spaceman wearing a red wool knitted motorcycle helmet, blue sky, salt desert cinematic style, shot in 35mm film with vivid colors.
Yes. Unfortunately, your frame rate isn't doing justice, but if you go to openai.com/Sora, you'll see the full fidelity.
Crushing my American internet.
Yes.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing. I like it.
Mm-hmm.
Getting started with V4 of GitHub Action Artifacts.
Yes.
Tell me a little bit more, John.
All right. I know this sounds like going from that to GitHub Artifacts, a really great transition because they're both equally in terms of excitement. So artifacts are this thing in GitHub Actions that allows you to store information. When you think of artifacts, typically, especially in the context of like development, people think of like build dependencies like DLLs in the .NET case, or binaries, but artifacts can be anything. They can be test runs, they can be logs, they can be anything you want. They're a storage mechanism in GitHub Actions, and for a long time they weren't super performant. They took a while to grab, etc. So they weren't as ideal to use as people would like. So with V4, they've changed all that. They've got a 10x improvement on upload and download, which is fantastic. And they've made some innovations there. So just for folks who want to know what's what on the GitHub Actions artifacts front, this is something you can use. I know that some folks will think of this as like, a repository for things. You can think of it as anything. Artifacts are anything you want them to be. So there you
go. Do I still have you live here?
Yes.
I do. Okay. Sorry, I'm having some kind of internet instability, so I'm just trying to keep up with the show.
You gotta get on the jQuery 4. That'll help your internet's there.
Yeah.
Maybe you should put your headset on. Maybe that'll help.
No, we need to queue up the thing.
Nice.
This isn't exactly Doom, but I thought this was really cool. Somebody programmed Snake into a router. Yeah. So
is that a Unify router? Yeah, it looks like a Unify router.
Yeah, it is. So I thought this was creative and fun, and
that's awesome.
Why not? I mean, it's not so much of a should I, but a can I. But somebody could, so they did, and it's amazing.
Yep. That's awesome. I like that. Yeah, so the new Unify routers have these LEDs on them that allow you to detect whether or not something's connected, but also will tell you, like, you can flash the socket ports with if you need to label a particular wire, for example. So I don't know about you, Ed, but I've certainly had my moments when I've been rewiring my house and you've got about 20 cables in your hand. You don't know what is what. And so you have to pull them out randomly. Are you still connected? That sort of thing. So that feature allows you to determine those things. It allows you to light up those particular ports, which is kind of cool.
All right, folks. Take care.